Okay, so time for another status update. Uh, this time I'll be highlighting something that is mainly just technically important, fundamentally important, I guess. Not so much visually exciting, so bear with me on this one. Changes since the last time is essentially that we've gone from having static indexes and static requests to having dynamic indexes, which are not just delayed indexes, they are dynamic, which means they're alive. So maybe you'll get a better sense of that when I show this off here. So let's go ahead with that. At the moment, I've got IPFS mounted under drive I, and I'm in the MFS directory. So we can go ahead and list out some of these files in whatever. If I want to do it in the command line, I can do it in the command line. If I want to do it in my own program, I can do it in my own program, whatever. So I'm just going to run this command in here, which just publishes to an IPNS key. And then I'm going to run this program here, name test. So we can just put that over there and run it, and then go over what it's actually doing here. So you'll see that it opens up the test key that we published to, reads all the data, prints it out, waits for us to hit return, seeks to the beginning of the file, and then reads all the data out again. So it's done half of this, and now it's waiting for our input. And what we're going to do is change what this test key is referring to. So we'll go ahead and run the second publish command, which publishes a different IPFS hash to the same key. And then we'll go back over here, hit return, the program is going to continue, and you'll see that it gets the fresh data. Had we done something horrible, this would instead return an error, but since everything is going as expected, it just returned the fresh data instead to the read call. So that is basically the only difference between then and now, but that is a fundamental change, because that allows us to do things that modify the state of the file system. Like you can imagine creating new files or deleting existing files and things like that. Not only can we issue those requests, we can do those concurrently and make guarantees about them. So that's good for speed, that's good for deduplication of request, and absolutely essential if we want to have multiple things accessing the same paths in lockstep, essentially. So that's the status update on there. With this foundation in place, I will start working on creation and write methods, at least for MFS, but also potentially for things like IPNS and IPFS. Even though there's no mutability in IPFS, we can still implement some of the calls for certain actions. Like for instance, a delete here should unpin this hash, and then maybe dragging something into here would pin it. That second one, less easy than the first one, but still probably doable. So I'm gonna look into those kinds of things and see where we go with this new foundation.